One morning, Motoharu Kensaki opens his eyes and realizes that the woman sleeping beside him is not the wife he remembers. She is Sayaka Egawa. Back in college, Sayaka was the girl every guy noticed. She was beautiful, gentle, elegant, and came from a wealthy family. To Motoharu, she had always felt like the kind of woman who belonged in a completely different world. But now she is lying next to him, and when she wakes up, she smiles softly, hugs him, and calls him her husband. Motoharu freezes. Then he looks around the room. This is not his old, cramped apartment. This is a luxury house. There is a spacious living room, a beautiful pool outside, expensive suits in the closet, designer watches, a thick wallet, and even the game console he always wanted sitting proudly in the living room. Sayaka brings him breakfast with the kind of calm, graceful smile he used to dream about. Everything looks perfect, too perfect, because only one day earlier, Motoharu was not living like this at all. He was a tired, beaten-down bank employee. He was middle-aged, underpaid, constantly scolded by his boss, and trapped between work pressure and family pressure. At home, he had 2 young children and a wife named Mio Kensaki. To Motoharu, Mio had become terrifying. She snapped at him over everything. She was always tired, always angry, and always one small mistake away from exploding. But Mio's life was not easy either. She worked at a restaurant, took care of the children, looked after the household, and still had to carry the emotional weight of a husband who never seemed to notice how tired she was. Like many couples who have been crushed by ordinary life, they did not fight because of one big tragedy. They fought because of small things that had been piling up for years. One night, their son starts crying. Mio wakes up first and gets out of bed to calm him down. A little later, the boy cries again. This time, Mio asks Motoharu to help, but Motoharu is barely awake. He mumbles, turns over, and leaves everything to her again. Mio has no choice but to get up. By morning, both of them oversleep. The house becomes chaos. Mio rushes to get the children ready, and before Motoharu leaves, she reminds him again and again not to forget to pick up the kids that evening. Motoharu sprints to work but still arrives late. His boss catches him and scolds him in front of everyone. Before he can even settle into the day, a client problem appears. He has to deliver an urgent check, so he runs out in a panic. In the rush, he accidentally grabs the wrong phone, and because his entire mind is on work, he completely forgets to pick up the children. Mio receives a call from the school. The teacher tells her no one came. She tries to call Motoharu, but of course, he has the wrong phone. So Mio has to ask her boss for time off and run to the school herself. That night, Motoharu finally notices the endless missed messages and races home. The moment he walks through the door, a slipper flies at him. Mio is furious. Motoharu tries to explain that it was because of a client emergency, but Mio has heard too many excuses. She accuses him of never caring about the family. He says she never understands how hard his job is. The argument grows uglier until both of them are saying things they cannot take back. Later, Motoharu goes to his friends and complains. He says Mio changed completely after marriage. Before they got married, she was cute, sweet, and gentle. Now, in his eyes, she has become an angry, middle-aged woman. He says he cannot stand this life anymore. If he could start over, he would never marry Mio. The next night, he comes home and finds that Mio has not made dinner. She is worried about her mother, Hisai Tadayoshi. Hisai has dementia and can no longer live safely on her own. Mio wants to talk to Motoharu about care options, money, and the pressure she is under, but Motoharu does not listen. He starts playing games. Mio tries again. He answers without really hearing her. That indifference hurts her more than another argument would have. Not long after, Motoharu runs into Sayaka. The college goddess still looks beautiful and gentle. When Sayaka tells him she liked him back then, Motoharu feels regret swallow him whole. Because in college, Sayaka once invited him to a concert. It could have become the beginning of their love story. But on that very day, Motoharu saw a girl on the bus helping an elderly woman. That girl was Mio. When Mio got off and left her wallet behind, Motoharu picked it up and tried to return it. He missed Sayaka's concert. Sayaka thought he had rejected her and slowly pulled away. Ever since then, Motoharu has wondered what would have happened if he had stayed on the bus. What if he had gone to the concert? What if he had chosen Sayaka instead of Mio? That night, Motoharu returns home, drunk and exhausted. Mio complains about the smell and pushes him to sleep in the living room. He tries to play games to escape reality, but even his console is broken. Life feels completely dark. On his way home from work the next day, he meets a mysterious old man telling children about wormholes and time travel. Motoharu thinks the man sounds strange. Then the old man walks up to him and gives him 2 old coins. He says Motoharu's life is about to change. Motoharu has no idea what that means, but that night, while driving home, he sees a strange sign on the road. It says the road leads to a new beginning. Then a toll gate appears, even though there has never been a toll gate on that road before. Confused, Motoharu drops in a regular coin. Nothing happens. Then he remembers the old man's coins and drops one in. The gate opens. The sky suddenly shows 2 moons. The car speeds forward on its own. The dashboard glitches, and Motoharu wakes up in his college dorm. The date is the exact day his fate changed. His friend Naoki Kida is about to take a motorcycle license test. Motoharu suddenly remembers that Naoki once had a bad accident connected to that decision, so he stops him. At first, Motoharu still thinks this may be a dream. Then the day continues exactly as he remembers. He goes to campus and sees Sayaka. Just like in the past, she invites him to the concert. Before he can fully process what is happening, a green flash appears in the sky, and Motoharu returns to the present. But now the present has already changed. He talks to his friend Chiharu Tsuyama about the strange experience, but Chiharu treats it like a dream. Meanwhile, Mio is searching for care facilities for her mother. The cost is terrifying. She says she may need another job. Motoharu tells her she is already exhausted from raising the kids, thinking he is being considerate, but Mio hears something else. If he earned more, she says, she would not have to suffer this much. The next day, while cleaning, Mio finds old training materials from the time when she still had dreams of her own. She remembers everything she gave up for love and marriage. Then she finds Motoharu's brand new PS4 hidden away. That night, Motoharu comes home and finds the console thrown into the bathtub. His suppressed anger finally erupts. He says he saved lunch money for months to buy it. Mio says he never thinks about the family. They both believe they are the victim. They both feel unseen, and the marriage collapses a little more. Later, Motoharu passes Naoki's restaurant and notices Naoki's leg is fine. In the original timeline, Naoki's leg was injured because of the motorcycle accident. Now Motoharu understands. The trip to the past was real. He changed Naoki's life. If one decision can change a friend's fate, then maybe he can change his own. He drives back to the mysterious toll gate. This time, he knows exactly what he wants. He drops in the second coin. He wakes up in the past again. Mio appears on the same bus. She still drops her wallet. This was the moment that once connected them. But Motoharu chooses differently. Instead of chasing after her, he gives the wallet to the police and asks them to keep his identity secret. Outside the station, he sees Mio coming to report the lost wallet. They pass each other without meeting. Motoharu silently wishes her happiness. Then he grabs a taxi and rushes to Sayaka's concert. Another man is also trying to take that taxi. Motoharu does not know him yet, but that man is Chiharu. By taking the taxi, Motoharu changes Chiharu's life too. Motoharu reaches the concert on time. After the performance, Sayaka confesses that she has feelings for him. They kiss. A green light flashes, and Motoharu wakes up in the new present. Sayaka is now his wife. She wakes him gently and wishes him a happy birthday. He is living in a mansion. There is a pool outside, a luxury car, expensive clothes, a healthy breakfast, and more money than he ever had before. Even his beloved game console is sitting safely in the living room. Motoharu can barely believe this is his life. Sayaka gives him a kiss and tells him to come home early. He drives to work in a luxury car, feeling like he has finally won. But somewhere else in the city, Mio is also living a different life. She is no longer the exhausted wife with 2 children. She is single, stylish, cheerful, and working as a bank employee. Their paths cross again. Motoharu is shocked. He changed the past so he would never meet Mio. So why is she standing in front of him again? At work, his life is different in many ways. He is still at the same bank, but because he is the son-in-law of a rich family, his boss no longer dares to treat him the same way. Still, when he suddenly remembers the 2 children he had with Mio in the old life, pain hits him. Those children no longer exist. He chose this world. Now he has to live in it. Then Mio appears at the branch. Motoharu lets out a terrified scream, remembering the angry wife from his previous life. But this Mio is not angry at all. She is friendly, skilled, and patient. Motoharu grows suspicious. Did she somehow remember everything? He soon learns she transferred to this branch on her own because she needed to care for her mother. The meeting seems like coincidence, but Motoharu is not convinced. The butterfly effects keep appearing. Chiharu, who originally had a happy family, is now single because Motoharu stole his taxi years ago, causing him to miss the woman he would have loved. Naoki, who was once single, is now married to Motoharu's younger sister, Nagisa Kensaki. That change happened because they met at Motoharu's wedding in the new timeline. Motoharu realizes that his new happiness may have quietly rewritten everyone else's life. At first, he tries to ignore it. At home, Sayaka is sweet and loving. She prepares a birthday dinner and gives him the kind of warmth he used to dream about. But at the bank, Mio keeps surprising him. A difficult customer comes in, a man everyone at the branch fears because he constantly complains and makes scenes. Even the vice manager cannot handle him. But Mio responds with patience and perfect politeness. She bows deeply, apologizes calmly, and gives the man no opening to attack. Everyone is impressed. Motoharu watches her shine and wonders how this kind, capable woman could be the same person he once called a monster. When the branch manager decides to buy drinks to celebrate, Motoharu accidentally says Mio likes strawberry milkshakes. Mio is confused. How does he know that? Motoharu covers it with a clumsy excuse. That night, Mio keeps having a strange dream. In the dream, she falls in love with a man, marries him, and stands with him in a wedding hall. But no matter how hard she tries, she cannot see his face. Her mother, Hisae, says strange things that make it seem like she knows more than she should. Motoharu tries to keep his distance from Mio, but fate keeps pulling them together. At the bank, Chiharu finds Mio's name badge and uses it as an excuse to ask her out. Mio refuses for now because she has to take care of her mother, but she says maybe next time. Motoharu feels jealousy before he even understands it. After work, he sees Mio fall from her bicycle. He hesitates, then goes to help her. Mio asks him for advice about how to handle a transfer fraud situation at the bank, and the two jokingly create a secret signal to warn each other if a customer is being scammed. Motoharu acts indifferent, but after turning away, he smiles. He hates that he still finds her adorable. On his way home, he meets the mysterious old man again. Motoharu asks why he keeps running into Mio even after changing the past. The old man tells him that no matter how much the past changes, people connected by fate will still be drawn toward each other. Motoharu tries to reject that idea. He tells himself that Sayaka is his destined wife now, but his heart is no longer quiet. At home, Sayaka finds Mio's name badge in Motoharu's car. She does not know what it means yet, but the first seed of doubt has been planted. Meanwhile, Chiharu's feelings for Mio grow stronger. He tells Motoharu he likes her. He praises her kindness, charm, and reliability. Motoharu tries to warn him that Mio may not be the person he thinks she is. He says women can change after marriage, but deep down, he is not warning Chiharu as a friend. He is jealous. At home, Sayaka buys expensive things casually, spending enough money in one day to equal what Motoharu once saved from months of lunch money. Motoharu thinks of his old life with Mio, where every coin mattered. He cannot really blame Sayaka. She grew up rich, but he begins to feel the distance between their worlds. Sayaka also wants to talk. She teaches cello at a university, but she is sad because classmates who once seemed no better than her have gone on to win international awards. She gave up serious study for marriage, and now she feels left behind. Motoharu barely listens. He gives a few empty responses and turns his attention elsewhere. Sayaka smiles and pretends she is fine. Motoharu does not notice. He is repeating the same mistake. Chiharu and Mio go on their first date. They laugh, talk easily, and seem like they could become something more. Chiharu happily tells Motoharu that Mio is hardworking, independent, and wants to build financial stability by her own effort. That sentence hits Motoharu hard. He remembers that the old Mio once tried to find a job too. Back then, he told her it was okay if she could not find one because he would marry her and take care of her forever. He thought that was love. Now he realizes it may have taken away the independence she wanted. Maybe Mio did not change because marriage is cruel. Maybe she changed because he never understood what she truly needed. One day, Mio notices an elderly woman who seems to be falling for a money scam. She uses the secret signal she and Motoharu created. Motoharu knows bank rules say they should simply call the police, but he cannot refuse Mio. He privately contacts the woman's son, and together they stop the scam. To thank him, Mio invites him to eat at a restaurant she used to love. When they arrive, Motoharu freezes. Alice's. This was their old restaurant. In the original timeline, they once wrote a love promise on the wall here. Now the writing is gone. Everything is familiar and empty at the same time. Motoharu asks whether Mio works hard because she wants to prove her own value. Mio says, not exactly. She says being a homemaker can be meaningful too. If she can see her husband smile, that alone can make her happy. Motoharu's heart aches. The old Mio had once wanted something so simple, a home filled with shared happiness. He did not protect it. After dinner, rain begins to fall. They share a broken umbrella and run through the rain together. Memories flood back for Motoharu. He remembers the gentle Mio from before marriage, the smiling woman who loved him with everything she had, and for the first time, he fully understands. Mio did not become angry out of nowhere. His indifference, selfishness, and refusal to share family responsibility slowly wore her down. He was the root of much of their unhappiness. As they part, Mio asks whether they knew each other before. Too many things feel strange. Motoharu immediately denies it. Then Hisae suddenly appears, grabs Motoharu, and calls him her son-in-law. Motoharu is terrified. Does Mio's mother remember the original timeline? Hisae drags him home. Inside, the house looks exactly like it did when Motoharu first met Mio's family in the old life. Hisae even cooks his favorite potato stew. Mio explains that her mother has dementia and may be confused, but Hisae talks about memories that should not exist. She tells Mio to treasure Motoharu. Motoharu realizes that Hisae may still hold pieces of the previous life. The thought shakes him badly. That night, he runs to the park to find the mysterious old man, but the old man is nowhere to be found. When Motoharu returns home, Sayaka has prepared another beautiful dinner. She warmly asks him to eat, but Motoharu is too full of anxiety to respond. He walks upstairs without noticing her hurt expression. The next day, he visits Nagisa and Naoki. His mother has made inari sushi, and as he eats, he suddenly remembers that Mio once loved his mother's inari sushi. He decides to bring some to Mio as casually as possible. He rehearses awkward excuses all the way to the office, but when he arrives, Chiharu has already prepared a full lunch for Mio. Mio praises Chiharu for being thoughtful. Then Chiharu confesses. Mio is surprised. She says they should get to know each other more before she gives him an answer. Chiharu says he can wait. Motoharu, hiding nearby with the inari sushi, feels like a fool. His phone rings and exposes him. He pretends he only came back to pick something up. That night, Chiharu tells Motoharu he seriously wants to be with Mio. Motoharu strongly opposes it and gives a long list of reasons they are not suited for each other. Naoki, on the other hand, supports Chiharu completely. Soon, Chiharu creates another chance to be alone with Mio during a weekend training event. Nagisa also tries to introduce Chiharu to a woman, only to accidentally bring Mio into the situation. Everyone is delighted by the strange coincidence. Everyone except Motoharu. He is watching his best friend move closer to the woman he once lost, and he does not know whether he has the right to feel anything. Motoharu now has the life he thought he wanted. He married Sayaka, the rich and beautiful woman he once admired from afar. But instead of feeling happy, he becomes more restless every day. His mind keeps returning to Mio, and the more Chiharu pursues her, the more Motoharu realizes he cannot watch calmly from the sidelines. During a family meal, Motoharu is distracted the entire time. Sayaka tells her parents that she wants to continue serious cello study. Her mother immediately says there is no point. To her family, Sayaka's dream looks like a hobby. To Sayaka, it is the part of herself she gave up for marriage. She feels hurt and misunderstood. Back home, Motoharu starts playing games, but his mind is still on Mio and Chiharu's date. Sayaka, already lonely from being dismissed by her family, sees her husband staring blankly at the screen instead of noticing her pain. For the first time, even gentle Sayaka gets angry. She walks over and unplugs the game console. Motoharu is stunned. This looks so unlike the graceful wife he thought he had, but he does not realize the truth. He is making Sayaka feel exactly how he once made Mio feel. At the same time, Mio receives a call from her mother. Chiharu happens to overhear enough to understand that Mio is working hard while also caring for Hisae. This only makes him admire her more. He asks her out for a drink. Motoharu hears from Naoki that Chiharu is taking Mio to a bar. He tries to stay away. He tells himself this is what he wanted. Mio is free now. Chiharu is a good man, but jealousy drags him to the bar anyway. Just as Chiharu and Mio are about to leave together, Motoharu suddenly appears. Chiharu is stunned. He pulls Motoharu downstairs and begs him not to become the third wheel. He finally has a chance with Mio, but Mio has already seen Motoharu. Now the three of them sit together in awkward conversation. Chiharu asks what kind of movies Mio likes. Motoharu silently assumes she likes emotional romance films, but Mio says she likes action movies. She only watches tearjerker romances when she is already sad and needs an excuse to cry. Her words stab Motoharu. He remembers the original timeline. When Mio was pregnant, he often missed her father's memorial service because of work. At home, she would watch romantic movies and cry. Motoharu thought she was crying because of the movie. He would take the television for soccer and then go play games. Now he understands. Mio was not crying because of the movie. She was lonely. She was grieving, and he never noticed. Later, when Mio falls asleep at the bar, Motoharu looks at her with guilt so heavy he can barely breathe. He quietly says sorry. Then he places his hand on her head, just like he used to do when they were together. Mio wakes up. Motoharu panics and pretends he was only removing something from her hair. Then he runs away. That night, Mio cannot stop thinking about the feeling of his hand on her head. It was exactly like the man in her dream. The next day at work, the atmosphere between them is strange. Mio refuses Motoharu's help and lets Chiharu fix her printer instead. Motoharu watches them smile and laugh together, feeling a pain he has no right to feel. Later, Mio cannot hold back anymore. She has dreamed so many times of a man touching her hair, putting a wedding ring on her finger, and promising love. She still cannot see his face clearly, but the feeling is familiar. She walks up to Motoharu, says sorry, and places his hand on her head. She wants to confirm whether he is the man from her dream. At that exact moment, Sayaka enters. She sees the intimate-looking gesture and freezes. Motoharu quickly explains that he was only helping a coworker remove dust from her hair. He awkwardly introduces the two women. Sayaka recognizes Mio as the woman whose name badge she found in his car, but she keeps smiling with perfect elegance. After Mio leaves, Sayaka asks who she is. Motoharu gives a light, harmless explanation. Sayaka is hurt, but she swallows it. Mio, meanwhile, runs away with her heart pounding. She is more convinced than ever that Motoharu is connected to her dream. That night, Nagisa and Naoki have dinner with Mio, trying to push her closer to Chiharu. When they ask if she likes anyone, Mio says no, but Motoharu's face flashes in her mind. At home, Sayaka asks Motoharu more questions about Mio. Motoharu answers them all perfectly, but Sayaka still feels insecure. She asks him not to give Mio rides anymore. Motoharu promises. Sayaka smiles again, but the wound remains. The next day, Hisai suddenly comes to the bank looking for Motoharu. She calls him her son-in-law in front of everyone. The staff assume she must be Sayaka's wealthy mother. Even the branch manager and vice manager rush out to greet her respectfully. The misunderstanding gets worse and worse until Motoharu hurriedly pulls Hisai away. At the same time, Mio receives a call from the caregiver saying Hisai has disappeared again. Chiharu kindly takes over Mio's work so she can go find her mother. But Hisai is with Motoharu, happily eating ice cream and treating him like family. She tells him to take good care of Mio. Motoharu is filled with guilt. When Mio finds them, she apologizes. Together, they take Hisai home. Mio jokes that maybe in a past life, Motoharu really was her mother's son-in-law. Motoharu cannot laugh. Soon after, Mio sees how kind and reliable Chiharu is. She decides to accept his feelings. That night, they officially begin dating. Everyone celebrates. Motoharu feels like his chest has been hollowed out. To celebrate Chiharu finally getting a girlfriend, the group decides to go camping. This means Motoharu's current wife, Sayaka, and his former wife, Mio, will spend time together. At dinner, Chiharu talks about the bank's anonymous online forum, where employees gossip about coworkers. Sayaka, who grew up in a much more sheltered world, is shocked that people could say such things online. Mio, with her cheerful and easygoing personality, quickly becomes popular with everyone. Sayaka sees Nagisa laughing with Mio more naturally than she ever laughs with her. A quiet sense of defeat rises in her heart. When Sayaka asks Mio what she likes about Chiharu, Mio blushes and says he is handsome, gentle, considerate, and never makes her feel lonely. Every word cuts Motoharu. He realizes that loneliness is exactly what he gave Mio. That night, Mio develops a fever. Motoharu remembers that only one specific medicine works for her. Without thinking, he runs out to buy it. He searches several pharmacies before finding it and rushes back. But by then, Chiharu has already taken Mio to the hospital. Motoharu waits anxiously at the campsite. The next morning, Chiharu returns with Mio asleep in the passenger seat. He gently unfastens her seatbelt. Motoharu sees them from a distance and mistakenly thinks they are kissing. The pain hits him so hard he can barely breathe. Back home, Motoharu is like a ghost. He tries to force himself to calm down, but memories of Mio keep flooding his mind. He cannot forget her. He finds another old 2010 coin and drives to the road where the toll gate once appeared. But the toll gate is gone. He pounds the steering wheel in despair. Then he finds the mysterious old man and begs him to send him back. Motoharu says he finally understands his mistake. He dumped the housework and childcare on Mio. He left her alone. His coldness stole her smile and made her become the angry person he feared. But the old man is unmoved. He says Motoharu chose this life himself. He also made vows to Sayaka. No amount of crying can erase that. The old man tells him that the person he lost cannot simply be taken back whenever he regrets it. Motoharu has no choice but to accept reality. He decides to treat Sayaka well and completely cut his emotional tie to Mio. The next morning, he does housework for the first time in ages. Sayaka is moved. She asks him to come home early that night because she wants to talk to him. Motoharu promises. At work, he learns that it is the anniversary of Mio's father's death. He remembers how often he promised to attend the memorial service with her in the original life, only to break that promise again and again because of work. This time, he tries to make up for it by helping Chiharu finish his work, so Chiharu can go with Mio. Mio does not have to be alone this time, but Motoharu works late and completely forgets his promise to Sayaka. She waits at home, watching her phone. By the time he returns, she is already asleep. The next day, Motoharu promises again to come home early, but an important company dinner is arranged because executives are visiting. He breaks his promise again. Sayaka waits with a table full of food. When he calls to say he cannot come, she only tells him to drink less. Then she quietly puts the food away. On his way home, Motoharu runs into Mio looking lost. That morning, Mio woke up and found her mother gone. Only a photograph of her father was left on the table. She has searched all day and still cannot find her. Motoharu cannot leave her. He helps her search. This time, remembering Sayaka's request, he does not let Mio sit in the passenger seat. The mysterious old man appears nearby, watching silently. They finally find Hisae at a bus stop. It is the anniversary of Mio's father's death, and even with dementia, Hisae remembers the bus because she met her late husband there. Mio breaks down. Motoharu walks beside her afterward. It feels like 10 years ago, but now he knows they cannot go back. So he tells her a story. In that story, he confesses his regret and says he hopes the person he hurt can live happily. It is the only apology he can safely give. When the story ends, they part at the road, walking in opposite directions. Motoharu returns home, wanting to apologize to Sayaka, but a phone call changes everything. Hisae calls, still thinking Motoharu is her son-in-law. Sayaka becomes suspicious. She searches his pocket and finds a police station card. Then she checks the car dash cam. There, she hears Motoharu and Mio's conversation. She confronts him immediately. Motoharu explains that he was helping Mio find her mother. Sayaka asks why he needed to stay with her all night. Mio has a boyfriend, and Sayaka is his wife. Then she asks if he ever thought about the wife who was waiting for him at home. Motoharu says Mio is only a co-worker. Sayaka becomes even angrier. She says he has been protecting Mio all along. Their marriage cracks wide open. Sayaka runs out of the house in pain and wanders the streets alone. She meets Kunimitsu Uehara, a younger man who has long admired her. He takes her to a bar. Sayaka refuses his advances at first because she is married, but she is hurt, lonely, and drunk. Remembering the bank's anonymous forum, she writes a cruel post about Mio, accusing her of inappropriate behavior and trying to seduce a married man. The next day, the post spreads quickly. Sayaka wakes up and realizes what she did. She runs to the computer to delete it, but the comments have already grown. Not knowing how to deal with the forum, she panics and shuts the computer. At the bank, everyone worries about Mio. Mio acts surprisingly calm and says there is no point caring about meaningless rumors. But Motoharu suddenly thinks of Sayaka. He calls her, but he cannot ask the question directly. Chiharu supports Mio openly and comforts her. Then the branch manager finds the post. Because the bank's image is involved, Mio may face consequences. Then the situation grows worse. Online users identify other bank staff from a group photo. Now the people around Mio are being dragged into the rumor. This finally makes Mio angry. She can tolerate attacks against herself, but not harm to her coworkers. Chiharu goes with her to an investigator to find the poster. Motoharu covers their work and calls Sayaka to explain why he is staying late. Hearing this, Sayaka panics. Kunimitsu comes over with flowers, but Sayaka barely notices them. She drags him inside and begs him to help delete the post. With Kunimitsu's help, the post is removed. That night, Motoharu and Sayaka are eating when work calls. Motoharu opens Sayaka's computer and sees the browsing history. Now he knows she posted the rumor. Sayaka looks at the flowers from Kunimitsu and feels her heart waver. Motoharu once thought marrying Sayaka would create a perfect life, but now the same loneliness, misunderstanding, and resentment are appearing again. When Sayaka asks him to attend her father's award party, Motoharu agrees. Then Nagisa calls. Their mother is sick. Motoharu takes Sayaka to visit his mother the next day, but Sayaka soon wants to leave to prepare for her father's ceremony. The gap between their families feels obvious. By coincidence, Hisae is in the same hospital. Because she seems to remember the old timeline, she finds Motoharu's mother's room. The two mothers spend a warm afternoon together. Motoharu's mother likes Mio and says she would make an ideal daughter-in-law. Motoharu smiles bitterly. That night, Motoharu tells Sayaka he wants to bring his mother home for a few days. Sayaka does not want that. She reminds him again that her father's event is important. Then Motoharu overhears Mio talking. The investigator has found the person who posted the rumor. Mio has learned it was Sayaka, but to avoid making things harder for Motoharu, she tells him she does not know the person and wants to drop the case. Her eyes reveal the truth. Motoharu apologizes and thanks her. Mio walks away quietly. The next day, Nagisa's child gets sick, so Motoharu has to pick up his mother from the hospital himself. Sayaka reminds him repeatedly not to be late for her father's ceremony. Motoharu looks exhausted after hanging up. After taking his mother home, he begins driving toward the ceremony. Then, he suddenly changes direction. That night, when he comes home, Sayaka loses control. Motoharu loses control too. He accuses Sayaka of only caring about herself and ignoring other people's feelings. He confronts her about the online post attacking Mio. Sayaka is hurt beyond words. From her point of view, her husband is angry at her because of another woman. The two stand there in silence. Then Sayaka leaves. She goes to Kunimitsu. The next day, Motoharu arrives at work and finds that Sayaka has sent his luggage to the office. Their marriage may be beyond repair. With nowhere to go, Motoharu stays at Chiharu's place. Mio wants to comfort him, but her position is too awkward. Sayaka calls later, trying to give Motoharu a chance to soften, but both are too hurt, and the conversation falls apart again. Motoharu finds the mysterious old man. The old man asks him what he truly wants. At last, Motoharu stops lying to himself. He cannot forget Mio. He changed the past to escape pain, but instead, he created new pain for everyone. Mio is suffering too. Chiharu is kind and devoted, but whenever Mio tries to face her feelings, Motoharu appears in her mind. At home, Mio finds Hisae drawing a picture. It shows Mio, Motoharu, and their two children from the original timeline. Mio finally breaks down. Sayaka also faces a painful choice. Kunimitsu understands her, listens to her, and gives her the attention Motoharu never gave. She keeps refusing him because she is married, but her heart is shaken. To calm herself, she plays cello all night. By morning, she has made a decision. She gives Motoharu divorce papers. Then she asks him one final question. "Did you ever really love me?" Motoharu cannot answer. Sayaka gives a sad smile. She says he only saw the glamorous surface. He never tried to understand the real her. Motoharu drinks alone, staring at the divorce papers. Now he finally understands. With Mio or Sayaka, he made the same mistake. He never truly listened. He never gave enough care. He never saw the person beside him clearly. Changing his wife did not change him, so the same ending arrived again. In tears, he signs the papers. During a company marathon, Mio hears that Motoharu drank all night because of the divorce. When someone collapses during the race, she panics and runs back, afraid it might be him. When she realizes the fallen person is not Motoharu, the relief breaks through her defenses. She confesses her feelings. But Motoharu refuses her. He loves her. That is exactly why he refuses. He does not want Mio to repeat the painful marriage from their old life. Chiharu wins the marathon, but loses the woman he loves. Later, Mio meets Chiharu and breaks up with him. Chiharu is heartbroken, but smiles and tells her not to feel guilty. At night, he breaks down and tells Motoharu that Mio may like someone else. Motoharu helps his drunk friend home, crushed by guilt. Mio also talks to Nagisa. She says Chiharu is a good man, but she does not feel the right connection. Nagisa immediately guesses Mio likes Motoharu. Soon, everyone at the bank hears about Chiharu and Mio breaking up. Motoharu finds Mio and asks her to reconsider. Chiharu is truly a good man. Mio says her feelings are not impulsive. She will not force Motoharu to give an answer, but she also cannot keep dating Chiharu. Chiharu overhears the conversation. That night, after learning the truth, Chiharu punches Motoharu. The next day, the air between them is painfully tense. Naoki also learns what happened and is furious. Motoharu has lost his wife, his best friend, and the woman he still loves. He wonders what the point of changing his life was. Meanwhile, Sayaka tries to recover her dream. She auditions for an orchestra, but because she gave up serious training during marriage, her skills have fallen behind, and she fails. Kunimitsu comforts her gently. This time, she is not alone. Mio continues having the same strange dream. In the dream, she meets a man, falls in love, marries him, has children, and then watches the marriage fall apart. But this time, she finally sees his face. The man is Motoharu. She goes to the university from the dream, trying to find proof that any of it was real. There, she meets Motoharu. He is also standing in the place where their past began. Mio asks him for the truth. Motoharu can no longer hide it. He tells her everything. They were once husband and wife. They met because he returned her wallet. They married after college and had 2 children. But their marriage became painful. Then he found a mysterious toll gate, traveled back to the day they met, and chose not to meet her. That is why they became strangers. That is why he married Sayaka. Mio says it is absurd, but the dreams, the familiar feelings, the things Motoharu always knew, and her mother's strange memories all begin to connect. That night, she goes to Motoharu again. She wants to know why their marriage failed. Motoharu tells her honestly. He left the housework and children to her. He did not listen. He did not comfort her. He did not care enough. He let her carry everything until she broke. Mio is devastated. The next day, she takes him to the beach from their first date. After thinking all night, she tells him her answer. The marriage was not only his fault. Maybe she also depended on him too much. Maybe she took his efforts for granted. Maybe she failed to clearly communicate how much she was struggling. But she is not the same Mio anymore. Years of caring for her mother have made her stronger. If Motoharu truly feels guilty, then he should come back to her and make up for the past properly. Before he can answer, a work emergency interrupts. A financing deal connected to Sayaka's father appears suspicious. With Chiharu's help, Motoharu discovers that the suspicious address belongs to one of Sayaka's father's properties. He tells Sayaka. To his surprise, Sayaka refuses to protect her father. Even though exposing him will cost her everything, she supports Motoharu in reporting the truth. Motoharu reports the fraud to the bank. Sayaka's father is arrested. The branch manager is transferred because of the scandal. Motoharu loses his job. Sayaka loses her money, house, and social position. But she chooses the life she wants. With Kunimitsu beside her, she no longer feels completely alone. Motoharu, now unemployed and emotionally exhausted, finds the mysterious old man again. The old man gives him another coin. He says that when 2 moons appear tonight, Motoharu will have one final chance to go back. At first, Motoharu refuses. Every time he changes the past, someone suffers. His friends were hurt. Sayaka was hurt. Mio was hurt. Even he was hurt. But then he understands what he has to do. He must go back one last time, not to choose Mio, not to choose Sayaka, but to remove himself from both of their lives. If he disappears from their stories, maybe everyone else can be happy. His old friends worry about him and search everywhere. Mio remembers their first date beach and prepares to go looking for him, but Hisae stops her. She gives Mio a coin and says she may need it. Mio finally understands something. Her mother may have traveled through time before too, probably to see her late husband one more time. Motoharu returns to the road where everything began. He asks the old man for one more 2010 coin. As the two moons rise, he drops it into the toll gate. This time, he is not chasing his own happiness. He is trying to create a world where everyone else can live better. Motoharu wakes up in his college dorm. The year is 2010. This is the day everything began. The day he once met Mio. The day Sayaka once waited for him at the concert. The day one choice split his whole life into different versions of regret. But this time, Motoharu chooses neither woman. First, he stops Naoki from getting a motorcycle license, preventing the accident that once damaged his life. Then he gently pushes Naoki and Nagisa toward each other, making sure their relationship still has a chance to begin. At the university, Sayaka waits for Motoharu to come to the concert. She waits and waits, but he never appears. On the bus, Mio still helps the elderly woman. She still drops her wallet, but this time, there is no Motoharu chasing after her. No meeting at the police station. No beginning. Motoharu tells himself, this is right. Without him, Mio and Sayaka should both have better lives. A green light flashes. Motoharu wakes up in 2020. This time, everything is unfamiliar. He is in a house he does not recognize. He checks his phone. There is no Mio, no Sayaka. He does not work at the bank anymore. He now works at a different company. Finally, he has succeeded. He has removed himself from both women's lives. At work, everything feels new and strange. His boss says he wants to introduce a woman to him. After 2 failed marriages across 2 timelines, Motoharu refuses immediately. He has no confidence in himself as a husband. That night, he goes home alone. There is no wife waiting, no children running around, no arguments, no warm dinner. He drinks, cooks for himself, and sits quietly in the silence. It should be lonely, but part of him feels calm. If his loneliness means Mio and Sayaka are happier, then maybe this is the life he deserves. The next day, Motoharu sees a happy couple on the street and smiles. He tells himself Mio must be living happily somewhere without him. Soon, work sends him to Tokyo. On the way, he visits the place where Naoki and Nagisa used to run their restaurant, but the restaurant is gone. He calls Nagisa and learns that she and Naoki now operate a food truck. When Motoharu asks about their child, Nagisa is confused. They do not have a child yet, but she does tell him something important. Years ago, Motoharu said she and Naoki looked good together. That one comment helped push them toward each other. Motoharu realizes that even in a life where he tried to disappear, his small choices still left marks. Then Sayaka happens to pass by the food truck. She and Motoharu meet again by coincidence. This time, Sayaka is not his wife. She is a successful cellist who stayed on her own path and did not give up her dream. She seems bright, confident, and free. The only thing is, she is still single. Sayaka jokes that meeting Motoharu again might be fate. Motoharu smiles and gently avoids the romantic possibility. Before she leaves, he tells her not to give up on her dream. Sayaka smiles and walks away. On the road, she crosses paths with Kunimitsu. They look at each other as if some part of them recognizes the other. Motoharu watches from a distance and smiles. Maybe some people are destined to meet, even when the road changes. The next day, Motoharu meets the mysterious old man again. This time, the old man looks cheerful and full of life. He tells Motoharu his own story. He used to be a famous doctor, but one failed surgery ruined his reputation, and he became obsessed with changing the past. He went back to become the perfect doctor, but because he focused only on his career, he neglected his family and lost them. So he went back again and again. Each time, he tried to choose a better life, but tragedy always came in another shape. A perfect life did not exist. Motoharu's own words finally woke him up. Changing the past forever does not guarantee happiness. So on that last night, the old man followed Motoharu back in time too. Now, he has chosen his family. He may not have the perfect career anymore, but he has a peaceful home and people he loves. Seeing the old man's happiness makes Motoharu think of Mio again. He promised himself he would not interfere, but he cannot stop himself from wanting to know whether she is okay. So he goes to the bank. There, he sees Chiharu. This time, they do not know each other. Chiharu is wearing a wedding ring. That means he has found his original wife and family again. Motoharu feels relieved. At least one person has returned to the life he was meant to have. Then Motoharu enters the bank as a customer. Mio is there. She looks calm, professional, and beautiful, but she does not greet him as someone she knows. Motoharu tells himself this is better. She does not remember him. She is free. A familiar elderly woman enters the bank. She is the same woman who was almost caught in a money scam in another timeline. Mio notices something wrong. Then she looks toward Motoharu and quietly makes the secret signal they created before. Motoharu freezes. Only the two of them would know that signal. He follows her lead. Together, they help the old woman again. Afterward, Mio tells him the truth. When Hisaya gave her the coin, Mio secretly followed Motoharu to the toll gate. She used the coin too. She was sent back to the day they first met. But this time, Motoharu did not appear. She waited at the places from her memories. She searched. But before she could find him, she was sent back to 2020. In this new present, she had no way to contact him, so she waited, day after day, until he finally walked into the bank. Motoharu breaks down. He had told himself countless times that staying away from Mio would make her happy. That belief was the only thing that kept him from running back to her. But she had been searching for him too. He finally understands the truth. What he wanted was not simply to get Mio back. He wanted to become the version of himself who could stay beside her for life without destroying her happiness. Mio tells him that she came back with her memories because she did not want him to decide everything alone. He had tried to disappear for everyone else's sake. But love is not something one person gets to erase in silence. They both remember the pain. They both remember the fights. They both remember the children who existed in another life. They know marriage will not magically become easy just because they love each other. But this time, they are not the same people. Motoharu has finally learned to see the person beside him. Mio has become stronger through all her years caring for her mother and living on her own. They choose each other again, not because fate forces them, but because they now understand what they failed to protect. In the end, Motoharu and Mio marry again. 4 years later, they have 2 children once more. But this time, their home is different. When the baby cries, Motoharu gets up too. When Mio is tired, she says so. When Motoharu is overwhelmed, he no longer hides behind work or games. They argue sometimes, because ordinary life is still ordinary life. Children still cry, work still exhausts them, money still has to be managed. But now they talk, they listen, they apologize before resentment grows teeth. Mio no longer carries the whole household alone. Motoharu no longer treats family as something that will wait quietly while he focuses only on himself. They share the load. They share the parenting. They share the boring daily tasks that love is actually made of. Sayaka continues walking her own path as a cellist. She did not give up her dream this time. And beside her is Kunimitsu, the man who understands her loneliness, supports her music, and protects her from the rain when she needs someone. Chiharu returns to the family he was meant to have. Naoki and Nagisa build their own loud, imperfect happiness. Hisae still carries mysterious fragments of memory, as if love can travel through time more stubbornly than people do. And Motoharu finally learns the lesson that no toll gate, no coin, and no second chance could teach him until he lost everything. The problem was never only which woman he married. The problem was the kind of husband he became after marriage. Changing the person beside him did not fix his life. Changing himself did. That's all for today's drama recap. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share.